So I decided to take it upon myself to go pour through Van with all kinds of data, and I'm primarily trying to figure out, what's been happening, what our registered voters look like as far as their profile and party affiliation, how strong a Republican they are, how strong a Democrat they are, and looking at the recent primary election and the general election, and seeing what the trends are for that. And I used the Democratic National Committee's DNC party affiliation score. And I don't really know a whole lot about what makes that score up. I know voting history has part of it, but there's other secret sauce associated with it that creates this score. And there's a score for practically every registered voter on the North Shore. Okay, so the way that this score works is a 0 is a dyed-in-the-wool MAGA Republican. A 100 is a fantastic, wonderful person that's a Democrat, a strong Democrat. And so you'll see on the charts, they'll be from 0 to 100 will be scored on the horizontal axis on most of these charts. Anyway, the goal here that I was trying to achieve was trying to figure out who should we really be targeting with our get out the vote effort in the fall, like Lewis was indicating there. So this first chart is going to be a little bit busy, but I'm going to take you through it. So what I have done here is I've got in the horizontal axis, this is the DNC score, and on the vertical axis is the number of voters. And so this is all the registered voters on the North Shore and how their party affiliation works. And the midline is where the neutral point is. They're more Republican to the left, more Democrat to the right. We all know we're outnumbered here on the North Shore, and by about 10,400, whatever, Republican leaning to 6,200 Democrat leaning. Republicans are 57% men, and the Democrats are 62% women. So I've added up cumulatively all the different precincts, but the purple line is the one to discuss here, focus on, and that's so that's the overall view. So the thing that just pops out at you at this is, wow, we don't have many Democrats in this 60 to 80 range of party support. And then on the Republican side, they actually peak in the very weak Republican support area. So I found that to be really interesting. But the one way to look at this is we don't have to move these people very far to get them onto our side. So that's, yes, question?
Are you going on the number of times they voted in primaries or the general?
The score does take voting history into account, but there's also other information that they
Like what?
Like I said,
Don't
it's
know.
secret sauce.
Okay.
I don't know. Okay, so now then I was looking at first-time primary voters in a Democratic primary. This goes back to 2006 data. And so I was looking at, okay, so what happened in the 22 primary, the 24 primary, and then our latest primary. So in 22 and 24, the line's pretty well tracked, but the first-time voters, first time ever in the Democratic Party since 2006, at that time frame, were pretty, solid Democrats. Now in 26, though, something appears to have changed, right? We're getting a lot of moderate Republican support voting in the Democratic primary for the first time. And all in all, it was 457 first-time Democratic primary voters. So that's a lot of voters. It's a lot of moderate Republican voters. And these are folks that we need to stay with us in November. But we don't want to push them too hard to push them away. We want to pull them in, but can't push too hard. Any questions on that one?
Let them keep the guns.
Okay, so now this chart is a little bit different, but the good news is that almost all the Democratic primary voters vote in the general. If we look back at the different elections, the generals of 2016, 18, 20, 22, 24, we had about 1,000 Democratic primary voters in 24. The orange sliver is those that didn't vote in the general. They voted in the Democratic primary, they didn't vote in the general. The green bar here are the people that voted in the Democratic primary that we never reached out and touched. So these are the folks that didn't get a phone call or a doorknock. But you can see we did knock on or talk to about 600 or so voters, so it's a pretty substantial group. But then the blue line indicates these voters voted anyway. So that's pretty significant there. And that trend plays out over all the different years. So our primary voters are good Democrats, and they vote in the general. And we don't need to spend a whole lot of time knocking on their doors and talking to them because they generally vote. So we do a light touch with them. We don't need to do a whole lot to get them to vote. Okay, so now I looked at what happened in the general election in 24. So by now, I think this green line should look pretty familiar. It's the shape. It's all the registered voters and their profile. And the blue line is the people that actually voted in the election, the general election. So as you can see, the Republican support, very high at the MAGA end. And then again, our slope pitches down, sliver of voters that don't vote. The red line is the people that didn't vote and where they landed. So a lot of them are in this moderate Republican area, but there's still a good chunk of left-leaning voters that didn't vote in the 24. And it's 800 plus of those people, and 64% of them are women. And these are the ones that I think we really need to reach out to and get as part of our Get Out the Vote effort in November, is to pull these voters in and get them to vote this time. And some of the things that we're kicking around ideas of are inviting them to events. So like the Open Blue Thursday was a great venue, a great opportunity to invite people that we don't normally invite. And then there's also some discussion about having an event at the Bar K where we would invite a lot of these voters. So, any questions with that? Okay. So volunteering is vital. We're not going to turn this ship if we don't get people out to vote. And so to elect Democratic candidates, we got to get out to vote. To stop Trump's rate of term, we got to get people out to vote. And to save this friggin' country, we got to get them out to vote. So you have to start making waves to create the big blue wave.
There you go.
Lisa.
Okay, so to go back to that other where the women haven't voted. So do we have an age range of those women?
I do have it, but I didn't want to clutter the chart with too much information.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, and I don't mean to, I hope it doesn't sound horrible, but are these older women that are maybe widows that don't like to leave their house? Maybe they just need somebody to drive them to the polls. Maybe we offer that.
Good question, yeah.
I mean, I know when we were doing block walking, that it seemed like we ran across a lot of that
Yeah.
demographic.
Well, I think the club had offered to take people to the polls,
Did do
but
that.
I don't know how well it's out and about to people know that we're making that offer.
There's a program called Ride to Share, right?
Ride to Vote?
Ride to Vote, Ride to Share.
I think so.
I could send information to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's a good point. We won't know until we talk to these people, right? So we need to find out,
Yeah.
like Liz said, talk to them, find out. One was the converse was, well, why'd they vote in the Democratic primary person? This is, well, can we get you to vote? Okay, so anyway, start making your waves. You can start, there's a sign-up sheet for volunteering in the back next to Tammy. Please add your name. The precinct chairs are going to be starting to make phone calls to folks to get them to volunteer. So please volunteer.